Hey everybody, and welcome to my N5 series on the SP404 Mark II. I continue to get questions in on how to record perfect loops, and there's a lot of things that go into this. But in this case, I want to talk about taking and recording loops from an external sequencer. So in this case, I got the OPXY. I have put together a track. It's kind of like a drum and bass kind of track going on here. It's probably varies from 4 to 8 bars, maybe a couple sections are like 1 or 2 bars, but it's a cohesive set of music, and we want to record it into the SP404 Mark II. A couple things you need to make sure that your sequencer is going to need to be able to do is under, in this case, OPXY, I'm going to System, and I can see that the clock is both, notes are both, and other is set to both. Basically, it's going to be able to send and receive clock and transport control information. So if you had a different device like an MPC or something else that has a sequencer in it that you want to do this with, just make sure you can send clock and transport controls. The important transport control is the play button, because we want to make sure that the SP404 Mark II starts recording as soon as you hit play. That way, if you have notes that are somewhere in the middle and don't necessarily start on the 1-1, it's not waiting for an audio trigger to get started. Now, over on the SP404 Mark II, I don't have a whole lot of settings going on here, but in the MIDI tab, I've got MIDI sync set to auto, and I have the MIDI sync out off. This is just to make sure that it's not sending any sync information out to the OPXY and then confusing it. So with this set, I can pretty simply hit resample. I want to make sure that the EXT source is set here, and then it has a BPM, so we know we're getting an external clock to. The M, I can set it all the way to infinity, but because I want a perfect loop in this case, I'm going to set the M to like 1, 2, 4, or 8. For these loops, I'm going to set them between 4 and 8, and we'll then come in. I'm just going to mute everything but the first track, because I'm just going to do this one track at a time to record it over. So just pick the track you want, and as soon as I hit play, it's going to start recording. And once the meter is finished and filled up, we're like, cool. So I can hit stop here. I don't need it to play anymore. I can then hit loop, and this will loop forever. And once we get a few things recorded in, you'll be able to see it'll stay in sync. So next up, mute and then unmute. We'll go resample. We're just going to do the same process. Now, a thing to keep in mind with this is you hear that crash there that just goes for a long time. We're losing that crash as part of this because the crash was near the end. So I maybe would want to record this as 8 bars or something instead, but I'm okay actually with that cutoff because it doesn't sound too bad. Let's do it again. So this is going to be something they have to decide as you're going through. Like, are you okay with like an abrupt cutoff at the end that maybe that like reverb tail or whatever else doesn't carry over? In this case, I'm actually okay with it. I'm going to turn loop off for both of these for the next step, which will be actually getting all this stuff to play in sync. But let's just keep, at the moment, we're going to keep going, and I will just show you that this is a pretty easy transfer process from this external sequencer over, and just keep doing resample. Now, if you do have anything that's playing in here on the SP404 Mark II because it's triggering from a pattern, you're probably going to want to turn the EXT source from mix to EXT in, which would be shift EXT source. I've just got it set to EXT in. That way I don't have to worry about it. But just as a note, and we're getting close to done here. I think we're getting into, I think it's the next track or the track after that is 8 bars. I think it's 7. But as I said, like, yes, this is a little bit time consuming, especially if something that's got like 16 or 32 tracks. It can take a little while. But this is 175 BPM and 4 bars, so it's not too bad. All right, track 7. I am quite sure that this is 8 bars, so I'm just going to make it 8. We will hit play and let this one go. Yeah, there we go. It was just, it's a one note at 4 bars and then a second note at 4 bars. All right, and then we'll go resample, turn this back to 4, and I will mute and unmute. we didn't hit a pad. There we go. This track here is a little bit different because it's got that like reverbness. I technically might want to, well, we'll turn loop on. You'll hear at the end it sounds a little weird. You can hear like a little bit of a pop. There's two things. We could try recording this as 8 bars and then cut out the first half. I'm just going to leave it as is, and we'll just go to an envelope and we'll set a release of 1. Should make it a bit better, so it's at least not as noticeable. So we don't have the tail, but at least we don't have that click. And I may need to go through and technically do that for all the other tracks here, but I'm not going to worry about it. So next up, the thing we need to do is I'm going to switch all of these to one-shot mode. So basically select, gate, select, gate, select, gate, select, gate. I'm just holding down the value knob or basically hitting enter to do this. That way, we're just going to set up a really easy pattern on bank B. I'm going to go record. We're going to select pattern 1. Just go to TR-Rec mode, switch with it with the remain button, just be in TR-Rec. We're going to hit record, and I'm just going to hit each of these notes and just put an event on the 1. And now, once it kind of every 2 bars, it's just going to sync up and get everything playing. So we've now transferred all of the song over. I can now exit out of TR-Rec mode and do like shift, reverse, remain, and I can start muting out parts that I want to. And I can play this live if I want. So, anyway guys, hope this helps out anybody that's trying to take content from an external sequencer and transfer it over into the SP404 Mark II, recording it in. Use resample, turn ext source off, make sure you've got BPM external sync going on for BPMs, and you can send transport controls, and you should be all set. Otherwise, I got plenty of other videos showing how to do different ways, but this is pretty quick. Anyway, folks, thanks for stopping by. Keep making music, keep having fun. Remember, if it sounds good, it is good. And peace.